line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing.
Beautiful skies, beautiful weather. Must be the Midwest. It's time to race it down here at Road America, ladies and gentlemen, live in Wisconsin, in the United States. We are here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, to present to you live the Shake and Bake Racing League ButtKicker Cup Series live at the famed track of Road America. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader, Christian Stride, joining you guys here today right now as we are watching on as our drivers are performing right now their laps around the track here for their positions today. This is setting up for their qualifying end here as they are now performing their laps. We've got our eye on Lawrence Sinisi Jr. to do his first lap out on the track here, while the other three drivers have laid down their other lap. Chris James, Luke Duran, Andrew Griesbaum, and Rocky Harpet's now laying down a lap or two. Chris James, the 82 right now, setting fast time, 2:12.93 out of the gate, almost a full second faster than Luke Duran out of the gate here. That could be a bit of a showmanship there, a little bit of a runaround there for these guys, and these have to really take the time here and really keep a close eye on the long haul and the long run that comes with this track. Of course, we'll put the track counter up here as well here in a little while, give you fans at home a little bit of an idea where everyone's at, where everyone is in this playing field, as we are currently letting the lap scheme pull down on the track in this moment. But it is time to take a look at your track tech talk here. This is the Road Course Challenge Week, which means it's time to bring out the old track map, and presented by the ButtKicker, here it is. 12 turns around this place. You can see this is, without a shadow of a doubt, a very tight-ended, very unique road course. Many passing opportunities, very fast lane corners, very fast lane spots. Without a doubt, there are multiple angles and multiple lines to hit and use. But the biggest key factor, I'm going to say, is going to be two angles. Number one, the front straightaway to the finish, entering in turn number one. High speed, high torque. Going to have to really back these cars down, get these things to rotate out just a little bit. And they want to make sure that they don't overdo the corner. Then you see right about the final two turns there. I'll say turn 12, you may see a little action there coming off that exit as they get to the straightaway. But I'd say the first turn, and I'd say probably the corner before the carousel down, the two corners before the carousel down there, which is about, I believe that's 3 and 4. That will be where you see a lot of action as well from these drivers in that very sharp 90-degree end turn banked. Matty Kleinschmidt there on the 16, going to try to lay down his lap. Griesbaum getting a 2:13.37. Flare out his time. And Matthew Kleinschmidt going to get a 2:11 out of his time. Lawrence Sinisi Jr. just outwits him by about 2/10 of a second there. Pretty good time. Brad Ward in the 87 trying to rock it out a little bit in his Canadian style car. The Air Canada 87 currently in the 6th slot. I guess I'll have to give him a break here. It is, I know it is the 4th of July coming up tomorrow, so I'll have to give him a break there on that one, not give him too much grief. He is from the land of our North friends, the Northern friends. The 86, Jason Jackson right now, currently laying down his lap. Trying to find the most speed he can, trying to find the most power he can off these corners here. And it's going to be very tricky again, because you can see there's a lot of uphill moments and a lot of downhill slopes. That's the reason why I said in that 90-degree end turn of 3 and 4, that's where you see a lot of hard braking, a lot of movement and action placed underneath, because you're going to see a lot of guys trying to get these things to come on and stop and actually not overdo the throttle. That is going to be a big factor here for them, and they know it. Time set. Jackson lays down 11 fast out of the bunch. Brian P. Traeger in the 6th will get a 12 fast. Brody Gunter, the 0-1 now on the track. Looks like he's going to try to get some laps laid down. 25 laps to the distance here today here at Road America. Should be an interesting little spot here for these drivers to be put into. We're used to seeing them lay down about 150 laps or so. Bit of a different playing field, different ball game, if you will, for these guys. And as a 0-1 right now, Brody Gunter tries to complete his track off. U.S. Military Benzoil 0-1, a little hard off the exit, trying to avoid getting any incident points. Comes right off the corner, onto that front straightaway, to the checkered flag, and his lap will not count there, so he'll get one more chance, or nope, actually, he'll get one more chance if he's got time. He's right out of time, though. Qualifying ends here in just a minute. That's how much time he's got left. I don't think he's going to have time to get it in. The 92 Spencer Clark going to come off. Try to lay down his lap, and Gunter has gone off track. His lap will not count. Spencer Clark's lap does count, and it will be a 2:13.33 to close out his campaign. So Cool Breeze Racing 92 here at Spencer Clark will put the Toyota Camry into the 9th slot to finish out his run. The qualifying has come to an end. Austin Derbyshire, Kevin Whitford, Isaac Velasmo, and Brody Gunter did not get a qualifying lap in. Without further ado, race fans, presented by the ButtKicker Company, it is time for your gridding order for tonight's race. So here we go, on to the start here. Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr. will be the #1 man in the 9. Is outside the 16 is Matthew Kleinschmidt. At row number 2 is Shane Hopp, the 81, with the 5 being a Luke Duran. Row number 3 is Chris James, the 82, the 87 being piloted by Brad Ward. Row 4 is Rocky Harpins, and the 71's outside is the 66, that's Nick Barassi. Row number 5 is Spencer Clark, and the 92 is outside is 78, it is Andrew Griesbaum. Row number 6 is Jason Jackson. The 86 is outside. It's the 6, Brian P. Trigger. Row number 7 is Davis Shively, and the 85 is outside as that 01, Brody Gunter. Row number 8, the 15, Isaac Belasmo, and his outside will be the 17, Kevin Whitford. The final starter, the 64, Austin Derbyshire. 2 Canadians representing in this field here will set the field now down on the track and prepare for their race. Presented in part by the ButtKicker Company. Best in performance on feeling on real tracks of the virtual world. The ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. It is now live here on the track, getting set to go for the action ahead. We'll stay focused on the cars right now as we will send it on its way. It's going to be a bit of a long way around the track, bit of a workaround for these guys as they'll have to continue to move their way around the chains, move their way into position, prepare up for the show ahead. It's been a while since we've been here on Road America. Last time we were here, Shake and Bake Racing League brought out the Triple Threat Series to the show. Bit of an interesting little turnaround here, a little bit of a track to see now put it up. But it is good to see the return of the Cup Series, and for the first time, the Next Gen Cup Series here on this track. I'm interested to see just how well they hang on and how much they can burn on speed. As we saw earlier a first-time winner ever on the real world stage of NASCAR. Congratulations to Tyler Reddick on finally getting that monkey off your back, sir. Getting a win when you really needed to, and getting it now locked into the playoffs. And just to think too that we are just one step closer to actually those playoffs beginning on their end, and these guys are getting one step closer to their playoff season beginning as well. This race could mean a lot to somebody. It could do a big number for some other drivers. We'll have to see how that plays out and what comes down on the track. There you see right there in the background the 92, that's Spencer Clark in the car warmed up, trying to warm those tires up. What he's trying to do is he's trying to get some heat into the air pressure of the tires, trying to get the rubber to kind of sink into the ground, because when they get off this start, that start could be the difference maker between a good finish to a bad ending. And that is what he does not want to end up have happen on this show. And on the final set of corners here, off into turn number 12. We'll fire him off down to the exit. Race fans, Road America, you want to see some racing? You want to see the best? You are about to get it. The green flag high in the air. It is time at last to set our field down to the track and onto the green. We're off and running. Entering into that first set of corners here, we'll go right in between is a 16 and Matthew Kleinschmidt. Too hard on the throttle, ends up in the grassy plains already. Trouble down there for Kleinschmidt. Trouble. Major troubles. Into the wall. Can't get it out of there. Has to try to swing it right around, and a good qualifying time. Just literally got dethroned by just simply overdriving a corner. Orange, Sean S.C. Jr. taking full control. Jay and Hopp in the 81 right there with it. Luke Duran trying to hold on. Down into the subset of turns here. Sean S.C. Jr. now has to sharpen the corner off. Use the brakes. Set the 90-degree left turn up. Then get to another 90 left. Spencer Clark now going to put it side by side. Battling in Rocky Harbits in the 71. E-Speed League boy here in that Sunoco style car. Trying to keep a Chevrolet ahead of the Toyota right behind him, the Camry. Trying to take a good shot in the arm, looking for a runoff here. Trouble down there as well for Isaac Balsamo. Balsamo here getting a little bit too hard in the corner and getting thrown out of the grassy plains. Trouble's down there for him. He'll have to work around that. Down through the carousel turn. Now off into the distance. Brad Ward in the 87 here continuing to move the Air Canada 87 right up into the fight with the other Fords and Chevys right on his tail. Such a picturesque, beautiful scenery here at Road America. Absolutely gorgeous facility. Love seeing this world that iRacing has not only brought to life from the real world, but just how luscious and green it is. It is a beautiful track, and might I add, probably one of my all-time favorite road courses to race on. And it's honestly a track I don't race too much on, but I loved racing on it when I did. I'll get more into that maybe a little later too on why that is here as we get to our first set of laps here already out of the gate. Jay and Hobb, the 81 right now, trying to get up there with Sean S.C. Jr. Sean S.C. continuing to hold him back, keeping it up in the position. Here comes Kleinschmidt right behind Traeger, looking to get a little bit of redemption, entering in turn number 1. This is the same turn that cost him earlier. Can he back it down and get the old red, white, and blue fixed in? Yes, he can. Nice dip down there. Now has to dive it in quicker here off the second corner. Got to really build speed up. Oh, there's trouble again, though. Gets it way too hard off the turn, and the rear end sliding out from underneath him. Is able to restructure, refire it up. 0-1. What the heck happened to Brody Gunter's rear end? My word, the whole rear end got ripped out of the housing on that thing. My goodness. Car don't have any rear bumper, that's for sure. Now, thankfully, it doesn't really need it, but it does slow him down a little bit in pace and in velocity here. And Nick Rossi here, way too wide off of the corner number 4 and 5 here. Got too aggressive and goes in the grass. These guys are getting way too aggressive out of the gate, but again, they're trying to get the most speed they can out of their cars to try to get ahead of these guys that are right now just charging up ahead of them. Downside, though, is the more they get too aggressive, the more difficult the car becomes to travel with and it becomes to race with. Gunter, knowing that all too well, too, almost sends it into the shadow realm of the grassy plains as well. Isaac Balsamo yet again into the grass, gets off though, will fire back up. These things were designed for the intermediate tracks and of course for road courses. The only thing they haven't really figured out is short tracks. Hopefully though, the next time we see that, it should change up quite a bit here. Great camera work from our camera crew down here on PTM Racing TV as they use all their footage we got on this track. We got so many camera angles really used up here. It is ridiculous to say the least. Gunter, bow at the east, speed number 6. Traeger trying to hold him off. Go to the right side, trying to make the jump. And Gunter gets a great corner off. Nice exit there as well. Will take full control. Traeger not able to hold him off. Great balance of consistency and speed right now between our drivers and everyone around the track. Here is our lap times here at the moment as we have completed the next set of laps here with only about 23 laps to go. 2 laps have completed so far. Shaughnessy holding back Hop, but Hop got some ground clearance there on that last bit, trying to get back up to him. Hop did go 1 spot up here. He started back in 3rd, moved into 2nd thanks to Kleinschmidt's, shall we say, mishap. But ever since then, it's been kind of rocking and rolling to fight it back up there. And Drew Griesbaum, the number 78 Arena machine, stepping it down low into the hard braking 90-degree corner. Deals with company to his left. Here comes Jason Jackson, making a great drive around there. David Shively spins it right in front of traffic, though. Able to keep away from taking out the other drivers. There, spoke too soon. Brody Gunter in the 0-1. The U.S. military Pennzoil Ford Mustang spins it as well as he tries to recover. Can't get it fired. Can't get it refired in time to get quickly back on the track. Loses 2 positions for his troubles. Austin Derbyshire, the number 64 here, the other lone Canadian driver in his big bad built Ford Tough Razor machine. Well, I hype the car up and heads up into the sand pits or the sandbox, if you will. Got into the grass, got a little bit too hard on the throttle, gets it fired back up again though. This is just something you're going to see all day long. Drivers getting very aggressive and kind of making those simple mistakes that you would think most guys would not make on a track like this. But, you know, it's a wide open range and it's a wide open track. So really, there's plenty of ways to get around, but there's also plenty of ways it can get pretty gnarly out here. And it's a very tight little spot to get out of if you're not careful. Jason Jackson knew that all too well. That's why he went around Griesbaum into that sharp left 90-degree downhill slope of turn number 3 and 4. Another thing to note too, look at the gearing in these cars, man. Gearing 1, gear 2, and then gear to 5. With the way the gearing system works, this isn't an H-pattern shifter by any means. This is a sequential shifter, which means these guys are actually trying to use more of a up down spot, so they actually do not have a way to just kind of switch into maybe like a second from 3rd gear to like 1st gear if they really wanted to by simply staying in the clutch and slowing down that way. They actually have to use the full on gear that they are in and put it into position. Works really well with IndyCar. I'm still hesitant to say it works well with Cup cars. I think I'm still kind of the old H-pattern shifter style of racing, because at least then you had some very unique ways drivers managed to maintain and use that as their advantages here. Speaking of advantages here, Kleinschmidt, I'm not sure what kind of turbos this cat's got on that car, but my word, he is making a comeback. He fell to 16th at the worst right now. In a matter of 2 laps, he's back in 8th, and there's even more troubles right up ahead. Rocky Harpence takes 2 for the price of 1. Jason Jackson also in the mix. That brings us to the PTM Instant Replay this time. Let's take a look at what happened here. Trouble down there for Rocky Harpence. And it looked like, yeah, that's right there. Tried to drift it, came off too hard, refired, and Jason Jackson tried to evade and try to avoid him. didn't quite go so well though for him. Back on the live feed right now here with only 22 laps left to go. I say only 22, but the thing is, like, it takes them 2 minutes to get around this track. 2 minutes and 12 seconds to be exact. Chris James, the 82, the driver we actually haven't talked about all day long. He's actually having a little bit of a company here with the E-Speed 82 as he deals with Air Canada's number 87 of Brad Ward. James up 2 spots right now. Actually did a pretty good job here in qualifying. Keeping his speed and consistency kind of at shake and coming alive here. Knows he's got a lot on his plate, got a lot on his mind, and needs to stay high on the edge and high on the shot. There's a lot going on right now between him and his crew, and he knows he's talking through every little bit here, keeping a close eye on the overall position here. James keeping keeping a good position ahead of the guys right now, trying to stay right up ahead of the field. Nick Rossi and the 66 moving back ahead of Brian Pretrager. As you see Austin Derbyshire and Brody Gunter having each other a little bit of work around Rocky Harbins there. Bit of a position or two to have to come off from Griesbaum after losing a spot there to Jason Jackson there. Actually got it right back off him just by that little mistake he made. Now Griesbaum right into the mix with Kleinschmidt again. Kleinschmidt literally a one sim wrecking machine. This machine is literally diving in quick and going for everything she's got. Oh, and more trouble yet again. Rocky Harpins lost it. Same corner once more. And I think he actually had company there with Austin Derbyshire. And Kleinschmidt actually able to make her way around before the carousel turn. Gets around Griesbaum. Past the carousel he goes. And Griesbaum now put back into position. Now has to try to find a way to make a move back up to him. Man, they are holding these things wide open, and at the same time, they are not keeping these things straight as at whatsoever. And again, it is so difficult to be able to be put in this position, going to be put into this mentality when you know you got a lot of keys and sequences going on. You got a lot of stuff really playing out. And by the way, folks, I don't know what the heck happened, but they're saying our roadmap just finally came up here, so this shows you where everyone is at in position here. Our apologies there. We like to have the roadmap up with these road races because honestly it shows you guys where every driver is at, where they're coming at in position, and how far one another is from the other driver. Right at the moment here again, Jaden Hopp, who took the early lead, has yet to relinquish it. The 81's been just bad fast out of the gate, but again, you know, can he keep that under control? Actually, Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr., I believe, was actually a race leader. And, oh, that might be explains why. Sorry, Lawrence actually had gone into pit road and was the race leader for the longest time. Now, Jay not taking that away from him, but that is something to kind of keep note of and keep track of. Is Shaughnessy in the high side machine going with the pit stop this early, giving up to the 81 here. I don't know if maybe he's looking at the overall picture, looking at the tires, looking at the fuel. Whatever the case may be, he's going to need to be very careful how he strategizes, how he works everything out, because gaining speed back on this track, it's a lot harder than it looks. I can tell you that from experience. I've had pit stops literally before that almost cost me a championship, cost me a race win and possibly a championship contendership. And those are not fun, I can tell you that much out of the gate. On board here, Barassi, and look at how smooth he has to get back onto that throttle before he really starts to engage the steering and engage that clutch back in. And you can see right here, it almost seems like it goes way too wide there, but he actually hit a very good corner, had a very good spot there. It was able to recover nicely into the turn and into the track. It's Spencer Clark lost a lot of time there in the 92. The Cool Breeze Racing 92 Toyota Camry get right into the grassy plains in the dust as Kleinschmidt comes right back for him. So much distance and travel gained already. Again, seems like really we're kind of looking on at a lot of heavy hitters and a lot of drivers we've seen before here on the ovals do well and trying to strike hard with these road courses. But these road course challenges have been very either temperamental to the usual oval driver or to the usual casual driver. To me, it just takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of work to even kind of master any kind of road course, whether it's been Watkins Glen, Circuit of the Americas, the Indy road course, if we want to consider that a road course. Sorry guys, but I don't really want to consider it a road course. Even just other tracks, like of course just Road America, and even, you know, Sonoma. That's a lot of tough tracks and tough names to really have to find a workaround with. Even the Roval has a lot on its plate, has a lot in its stake. Can make things very interesting and very time consuming and challenging for everyone that plays out on these fields. Brian Pete Traeger, though, give him credit where it's due. Him and Griesbaum 3 and 4 spots up respectively. Traeger getting qualifying in the 12th slot, now currently in the 8th round, and right now he's been pretty fast, I gotta say. Kind of keeping his speed up and run, kind of keeping himself under control. Hasn't given up too much out on the track. Has been kind of staying, sort of, you could say, steady Eddie, if you will. Kind of really in that place. Chris James in the 82 still hunting down Luke Duran there, as Duran right now in the number 5 tries to keep the high siders right up on the spot. The high sides, number 5 Chevrolet machine trying to stay in large and in charge. Knows he's got quite a bit of run left in him still. High side Motorsports does not give an inch to anybody here. Now, I talked about my thoughts and feelings about this track earlier, but I'll just kind of repeat it a little too. This is probably, like I said, one of my favorite tracks for one of the main factors that I actually got a win on this track a long time ago on the NASCAR Heat days, and I was actually broadcasting on PTM Racing TV and still have that amazing dive bomb I did down into this corner here, which was not intentional by any means, but I had to literally swing that thing straight left. I was slamming the brakes and it about took out my friend and my colleague and fellow driver in Jeffrey Oaks. Him and I just had kind of a laugh about it later, and he congratulated on the win. But I mean, I told him point blank I wasn't trying to outrace him that way. That's why I backed off, let him kind of cross me over to take that lead spot back. I ended up getting him later on, though. I think it was in turn 10 when he was going uphill. Got way too loose, and I just kind of snuck by him and never looked back. And that was kind of the way I wanted it to go down. But you know, that just shows you how difficult this track is to just not only get a win on, but also to be the top performance, top tier of your expertise in driving style. It is an absolute challenge from all ends of the spectrum and all ends of the track. And it can really rally some drivers up. It can make things a little bit more difficult as they go. James right now making a bit of a comeback here. Got a bit of speed on James. Duran is right now currently dealing with some company behind. Knows he may have one on his right side here entering into turn number 1. Holds him back. Doesn't quite get enough of him there. Brad Ward meanwhile also making a good little fight here. Just trying to get to that 5 and as well and past the 82 in front of him. Air Canada's Ford versus that old East-Speed Ford of James. The big bad Chevy of Durant kind of stuck in the middle of it all. Like you see, the brake rotor is just getting used so much, and the speeds have to kind of cook up. They're holding down tight and holding well. Clark, Kleinschmidt, Barassi, Gunter, and Harpens have all entered into pit road, so their strategy is now coming into full effect. Well, the field right now is starting to separate themselves out after that pit stop here, and kind of getting a little bit more cooked up in between. Jason Jackson, after a little spin around he had up on the top of this curving end turn here in turn number 4 or 5, actually got him right in there. Rocky Harpins, that 71, I think, kind of starting that whole mess up, but both drivers are able to come out clean as a whistle here and at least able to structurally stay sound. Pit stops being made. Jaden Hopp already in. You see Duran, James, and Ward also now in as well. And Griesbaum not far behind him after his little pit stop, so has not been to pit road. Neither has Derbyshire. And it looks like he'll go in. So the only one left is Derbyshire and Shively and Whitford. They are the last remaining bunch. If you get far behind on this track too, I mean, don't expect the cautions to save you. I can tell you that much. Cautions here are not going to give you any help. Matter of fact, they'll just make it worse for you than anything. You really have to use pure speed and pure power just to get something going. Shively will head into pit road. Kleinschmidt stays on out. He's going to take 2 for the price of 1 here. Griesbaum and Derbyshire will lose their position. And Kleinschmidt went into pit road back on lap number 8 there. So that ends up actually making a bit of a factor here for him and his team to possibly have a way to stay true and hold form. They went about 9 laps before they had to go into pit road, about 10 for some of the other guys. And at the moment, Jaden Hopp still your race leader, keeping Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr. back behind the field. I don't know what the heck happened to Shaughnessy Jr. I'll time it 2 ago, but I think that pit stop might have been a little too fast and may end up getting a speeding penalty for his trouble, costing him not only the race lead, but a lot of time and a lot of an area for him, as Jaden Hopp pretty much has been just kind of cooking these guys up a new one here. coming right around here. A little bit of trouble. Brad Ward, nice save there. Exiting off turn number 2 there. Actually got very loose. Passing through the DRS line there. Now has to try to get through. Back up to these guys. Trying to keep some speed up. If you do see that little dot on there, that is the DRS line, as you will notice here. That actually is kind of their braking zone as well as their pinpoint of where they are at on time and speed. And no, that is not our end there. That is glitching these guys out. That is their own internet, unfortunately. I'd show you guys like what our stuff looks like on our end, but then it'd be kind of pointless. But no, I swear that is not us. That is having any troubles with the cars being kind of staying on the track and not blinking in and out. Heading through the tall grass now into the turn here, back through turn 3. Swing it down low and back through turn number 4 we go. And Griesbaum gets a great jump off of Traeger. Traeger not able to keep it with him. Although Traeger makes a very good turn there, much tighter, but doesn't carry the momentum. I thought honestly that was a better turn than compared to Griesbaum, but Griesbaum seemed like he had a little more power. Kind of holding true in the middle. And that's where he got all that line to work with and kept it going there. And again, surprisingly, Highside Motorsports number 9, Lawrence Genesi Jr., after his pit stop penalty as well as his penalty out on the track, kind of giving these guys a bit of a workaround, a bit of a shoot-off here for themselves. Kind of strange that he kind of threw himself into that moment, kind of threw himself into that area, and hasn't been able to really recover since then. Rocky Harbenside, really could say probably the driver that spun the most here out of this bunch so far, is currently still holding true in the 11th spot. Not top 10 just yet, but I'd say with a little bit more time and a little bit more pacing, I think he may be able to pull himself into the top 10, but he's still got some competition he's got to kind of work around. Not to mention Shaughnessy Jr. catching up to him and Jason Jackson later on in this race. I think that really could damper and kind of make him feel a little bit more less on the secured side and more on the scared end here. Jaden Hopp, though, I'll tell you, folks, this 81 Ford Mustang, he just kind of put this car literally right up ahead, never looked back. And the Canoas Berry Farm man, or the Canoas, I think it's Canoas Berry Farm, I think that's how you say it. Literally just kind of led this entire spot out since he had nowhere to lose, nowhere to run off from. Kept a full 8-second gap ahead of the entire field. Lawrence Genesi Jr. wasn't quite able to keep up with them. Matthew Kleinsmith, I had to give a, can I give him the Hard Charger Award for how far he had to come back? I mean, technically it doesn't count. Brody Gunner is the ultimate Hard Charger right now. And positions wise from where he started back in 14th, he's now in 9th, but he got 5 spots up. But Kleinsmith literally was almost dead last. And he's back in 5th. That just tells you how much speed this guy had. If it wasn't for that small error off turn 1, I'd say this might be a whole different race right now. This could be a different scenario built up. Take a look at your cars, drivers here, and your make some models on these guys here as well. Give you guys a good idea of where they are playing in the track and where they are on their setups here with these manufacturers. Brian P. Traeger right now with some company there with Gunter right behind him. Got out of it in the fight and into the fray here, looking to make a move off as Griesbaum tries to stick with him. The 78 right up ahead of the number 6. Traeger trying to hold in. Looking to keep speed alive, keep the momentum going. Down, entering to the next set of turns. Into the 90-degree sharp lefts. 3 and 4. Traeger trying to hold on. Gunter trying to keep up speeds, trying to keep his power on at bay. Good showing there. Gunter not quite able to stay with it. And the 0-1 falls back just a slight bit to Traeger. And someone might want to get that camera angle fixed on that 0-1. Oh, and someone might want to get a little bit of the pail in the bucket out because Traeger has gone dipping into the sand again. He gets out of the sandbox, but instead loses a position over as well for his troubles. Problems there for Traeger and gives Gunter now into the 8th slot. Well, what I said earlier about Harbins and going to the top 10 has now kind of come to fruition. He's taken over that as Vic Barassi here in the 6-6 ended up having a little bit of problems down there. Costing himself dearly and cost himself plenty of time. Brad Ward now looking to get back up there to Luke Duran here as both drivers play their own little strategies, their own little stuff here. Duran right now currently trying to, I would believe, really kind of intimidate that number 87 behind him with a unique little roundabout of just keeping his speed going, keeping his momentum and power under the hood. Has not missed out his marks, nor has he missed out on his shots here. Watching on right now, listen to that throttle rhythm, watch the movement here. Duran right now possesses, currently still trying to hang in this crowd in this field of drivers. Field starting to separate out more as we go. You see that number 92 there, that is Spencer Clark, who's now literally putting this Cool Breeze racing machine right into the fray with lap traffic. That was Barassi you saw a minute ago in the 66, who earlier was in the top 10 battling pretty hard. But due to just a few arrogant shots, error and runs there, cost his momentum and cost him dearly. And really the guy that we keep coming back to, but again, he just keeps coming through the field. Kleinschmidt is now making his way up into the top 5. And Chris James, who you got to remember earlier on, battled for 3rd there with Brad Ward and looked for 2nd from Luke Duran, has now kind of fallen into a little bit of a hole here, trying to keep up with these guys. Still hanging in there, though. Brassi's jumped into the pits. I think he might be calling this one a night. I think he's had enough here at Road America here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And right as they went through there, you saw out of turn 2 that long straightaway entering into the big corners of 3 and 4. That right there, though, was actually a very nasty little sight. And that on the Xfinity Series on Saturday night, as we saw the Xfinity Series drivers of Noah Gragson and the number get into it with a couple of guys, unfortunately, and end up taking one of them for a ride with a blatant shot. And unfortunately ended up causing a huge wreck and pile up that even Brandon Brown learned the hard way how hard that's got to hurt. Thankfully he was a-okay after a little bit, but I will say, I mean, I put out a little tweet there just kind of saying, like, flat out, like, man, I'm glad he was, I was just hoping he was okay and he was alright. But that does kind of get to show you, though, just how much safety features go into not only these cars, but just every car that anyone runs in the motorsport world these days. It may not protect you from making silly mistakes like that or end up getting yourself lost some time, but it is good to know, at least though, compared to what the world was many years ago, the racing landscape has changed. And we even got a picture of that here from the Formula One race that they had going on, which was a very huge deal there. That halo saved quite a few drivers' lives this time, to say the least, and I'm hoping it can continue to do so, because that was a very scary incident we had, not only in practice that we saw, but also on the actual start of that Formula One race down in England, to say. 10 laps left to go, though. We are nearing the end of this one, and so far, again, Jaden Hopp pretty much schooling this field. I really don't know how else to put it. He's just schooled the entire track and stayed right there with it. Speaking of right there with it, how the heck is Brad Ward still with Durant? He's literally got on the grass like once or twice, and he's almost lost the car like 3 or 4 times. This there Canada 87 just does not give an inch. He's hanging in there, man. I don't know how he's able to do it, but Highside Motorsports number 5 has got to be sweating a little bit, knowing that he's literally in a dead heap squabble with him, literally coming right for his spot. Brian Pete Traeger and Rocky Harpins yet again still keeping themselves nose to tail in the distance. Jason Jackson heads into pit road in the number 86, so he'll set off for training reactions there. The rest of the field separated out by a good margin. The 78 Purina Ford Mustang of Andrew Griesbaum comes to mind as well. David Shively in the 85 in his Pennzoil Shell. We've seen him do well on the ovals, but unfortunately this road course is not quite the same. Massive struggles right now for that 85 cam, and Kevin Whitford as well, keeping off pace and off tempo with them as well. Whitford, though, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that, you know, with what he has shown on road courses that I've seen of him, it seemed like he can actually drive somewhat alright in that Cool Breeze Racing 17, but today was not the day. Instead, it's kind of to go to his other camp driver, piloted down by, of course, Spencer Clark. Chris James, the E-Speed 82. Oh, hold on, buddy. Gets into the grass. Stays calm, cool, and collected, though. Doesn't get himself into trouble there. Avoids any mishaps or any misfirings. In Durant, I really don't know how the heck he's keeping Ward behind him, but Ward is literally looking for any angle, any spot to make a move off of him. He's had like multiple chances and multiple runs to do it, but yet can't seem to get away from this cat, man. He just won't do it. Ward now is trying to dip it into the right side. He was trying to make a pass for him. It did not give. It did not go. And again, this has been the battle we have just constantly been kind of coming back to or kind of watching, because they just cannot seem to let each other go. Won't let each other by and won't let them let off their sights. The rest of the field right now moving in position. Shanessi Jr. now making a good triumphant little fight back on. Still hanging on. Shaughnessy Jr. will not quit, nor will he give an inch. Laps winding down right now here. Currently looking on as the field continues to drive their race, drive their line with 8 laps left. There's not a lot of time left, and Kleinschmidt knows this, so he'll use his pit stop in position and contention. Spencer Clark will join him. Jaden Hopp, who has been out since lap 9, has yet to return to pit road. I think he's trying to watch every other driver, trying to keep a close eye on when they head to pit road and when they get for their start. I think he's trying to bait Ward and Duran to actually go in as well. And it looks like Duran actually finally gave up position. Ward gave him a run, gave him an opening here. Brad was able to sneak his way on by there and make a full charge up ahead. Duran not able to get back at it there. Chris James is currently still trying to hunt all of them down, but again, so many times in that grass and so many times off the pace and off the track, he's slowed down so much and he's lost a lot of time as well. The 82 knows this, but he's just trying to hang on for whatever's left under the tank. Reminder as well here on PTM Racing TV, race fans, tomorrow we will have the day off. It is Independence Day, and we'll actually be off for quite a while. But on the 8th of July, and here at first, the Super Money Race is back on the show. You ain't gonna want to miss it. Also, Citadel Rallycross comes back to us on Saturday night on the 9th and the 10th. We'll have 2 races, 1 more road course challenge for the PT Racing Truck Series. And Moonshiners bring us to Hell RX. Motorsports L returns to the track here on PT Racing TV. You will see that next week on next Sunday. You'll see it all go down here on this service on the circuit. So again, if you like what you see and you liked our shows and want to see more of it, be sure to subscribe here on PT Racing TV. It does help support our channel, help support our crew and our team here. We really do appreciate it as well. We'd appreciate if you guys can also like and follow us up on our Facebook end so you guys never miss the channels and never miss the beats. We are always showcasing something here on PTM Racing TV in some really cool way or not. It's always a good time on this show. Brody Gunner right now in the 0-1 trying to get right up ahead of that 85 David Shively here. The Pennzoil Shell Ford Mustang trying to keep the other Pennzoil Mustang driver right behind him. Gunter kind of living up to the American standards here, putting a little bit of that blue up in the front with that red and white kind of creamed in. And of course the American flag kind of was a dead giveaway on the back of his trunk there. Sends it right by Shively and shows him that the American spirit lives on. Dive down quick in position here, taking a full run off it. Griesbaum and Harpins having a good little fight here too. Jaden Hobb, Brad Ward, Luke Duran, and Chris James, by the way, have all entered in pit road and exited out just clean as a whistle. They have been clear to go, and they are staying in their own positions. Same for Kleinschmidt, Clark, and also they're staying up where he needs to be. Brody Gunter and Andrew Griesbaum, Rocky Harpins all moved up 1 spot out of the crunch, and Griesbaum looking to be possibly losing a spot here if he doesn't find a way to hold down Harpins. Harpins right now looking towards the right. Hard charge. Needs to brake smoothly entering in turn 1. Griesbaum tried to dip it down at him there. Get a crossover going. Wasn't able to connect the lines. That's a big draft and a big push there that they get through those corners to do that turn. And they knew it. David Shively, though, almost getting set back and around there. A little bit of a drive off there for Shively. Able to hold it down. Down to the last couple laps here. When we get to the final 3 laps, we'll put the top 5 on your screen here. I say it's 3 laps because, well, it takes 2 minutes for these guys to get around the track. So I want to make sure you guys at least know where everyone is at in position, where they are at on the track. By the way, Lawrence Sinisi Jr., the number 9, he has now moved back in top 10. He has put Traeger and Jackson 1 spot below him. Finally getting some speed and making his way through the chains. He has now put his high spot Motorsports back on record and back on crew. Boy, you can feel that power, feel that momentum he carries through in these runs and in these kind of times. He's trying to hang in there with everybody. Doesn't want to quit just yet. Doesn't want to give out at all. Neither do the other guys here, as currently Barassi, Derbyshire, and Balsamo have all lost. Whoa! And trouble for Nick Barassi here, as he has destroyed the entire car there on the front end of that thing. That's the first time we have seen that model now used on these cars. But what happened exactly that got the 66 destroyed like that? Well, take a look at the PTM replay and find out for yourself. Another look at it shows everything. It tells all and shows all. Bam! Slamming it right into the corner there, off into the sand pits there, and takes a huge hit for his troubles. Got loose off the carousel. I think the first time we see anyone get loose off that carousel turn, you can just see as soon as he slammed that wall protection, the front of that car was destroyed. The right side tire gone. And you can see it, the right front bent so badly there. Yeah, it was a hard hit to say the least. Thankfully he is okay. Safety equipment doing their job. Jason Jackson, the 86 and the Jackson Racing Machine, moving back into the 12th spot here. I don't think that's exactly what he was kind of hoping for, though, where he was thinking he was going to end up playing at today, but that is kind of the part of the racing, if you will. Brad Ward, the 87, has moved into second. That's kept Eric Cannon, his 87 machine, right into the binders and into the spotlight. Jaden Hopp in the 81 has continuously, and I mean just absolutely momentously, hanged on to his position and kept full control of this race and will not let go. Final 5 laps now for the 81. Chris James, the 82 right now, has a little bit of company though coming his way. Kleinschmidt, after a monumentous amount of laps here, finally is getting some sweet, sweet revenge. A little bit of problems down there. Chris James had a little bit of a squirrely chop off there and lost his position there. Kleinschmidt taking full control. Get the back on the track, but again, Kleinschmidt taking full aim of that. The 1Sim16 machine just continuing to dip deep inside and make full control of this race and take full consideration of this battle that he has presented himself with. It has been a war to the front and a war of nutrition, but nevertheless, he hanged on and kept it going. Race fans, when we come back, we will see if they can hang on just a little longer and if they can finish this one out. And they have got to try to avoid mistakes like what James just did there. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this quick commercial message.
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker, the future is feeling.
Welcome back live here, ladies and gentlemen, on PTM Racing TV after a big mistake made there by Chris James in the 82. Matthew Kleinschmidt moving back into the 4th slot. just 2 spots back of where he started at. In this qualifying session, this race today, has been desperately trying to get his speed and momentum to carry back forth after the heartache he suffered on turn number 1 in lap number 1 of this race. But the fact that he's been keeping very much consistency and speed alive has definitely been telling and showing just how far these guys will go. Yeah, right now approaching on, looking down on the final legs of this race, the final moments, closing out in such a big way here, to say the least, here on PTM Racing TV. It has been a tremendous amount of hard racing, hard battling, and Brad Ward almost sending himself to the shadow realm there. Got really lucky that car did not go spinning and tumbling out of the ballpark here at Road America. 3 laps left to go, though. Jaden Hopp still with the lead, continuing to pace his way around. Matthew Kleinsmith staying further and further ahead of Chris James as James tries to drive it quicker and get some more speed. The car just will not allow it, though. Speaking of gaining more speed, let's take a look at our lap time here for Shaughnessy and Harpins. And oh my friends, look at this. Harpins has been giving a lot of time up to Shaughnessy, and Shaughnessy would love nothing more than to get another position in another lap around the track here and take over full control. But he's not going to be able to do it, though. He's going to have to head to pit road. Another pit stop to be made for the 9. A little too low on fuel and made a great comeback there at Harpins, but too much time used up from pit road earlier cost him dearly. And Harpins will escape with his 8 slots for now, anyway. Jaden Hopp, though, has yet to have been challenged for that race lead since he got it from Lawrence Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy, again, just once he got stuck in that penalty, he got stuck in trouble. It cost him dearly, and Hopp really hasn't let up on that since then. Luke Duran, the last guy left, really, that, and Matthew Kleinsmith without a pit stop, has left at his disposal that he can actually take on and collect here in this race. Brian P. Traeger now having to go into pit road, has got problems back on the track yet again, and he has completely tore that car up a little too much. 2 laps to go. We'll have to take a look at what happened to Traeger, though. See exactly what happened to that number 6 machine. He was doing so well, and it looks like turn 4 might have actually bit him here, as it has bitten probably the most guys out of this bunch today. And I'm kind of surprised, because usually this is the corner that I would think gets the most speed out of the bunch, but Traeger trips it in the wall. Oh, I can see what happened now. That whole right front, I think, is tore up. I think he actually completely shredded off the entire housing of that wheel. We'll take a look one more time at it before we return to the action here, but man, if he tore up that right front housing on that wheel, oh my. Take a look. Well, he jams in. Yeah, he did. The whole right front housing completely breaks off, and that wheel just takes a complete destructive turn on him. That cost him a lot, and that definitely is going to be a sad ending to his day, to say the least. 2 laps will turn to 1 lap to go. In just a minute, Jaden Hop, you can see already halfway across the track, halfway nearing the end of it all. Brad Ward looking to get at it there. Luke Duran not done yet either. Every driver for themselves here on the last couple laps. And remember, you really can't just say for sure someone took this whole win already without something happening. You've got to stay focused and hope that you don't make another mistake. Hop is not immune to this. We've seen him before. He's made mistakes on the ovals. He can make a mistake on the road course. But I think at this point with the lead he's got, I think his main focus is just to stay cool, calm, and collective. At last, the white flag flies in the air. Your number one is the 81, Jaden Hop. And the Ford Mustang keeping his control. Behind him, though, a hard charge in number four slot up. 87 of Brad Ward, looking for Hop to make one little error, one little mistake. The hard charger of the day will go to Brody Gunter, barring any mistakes there on his end. And what a comeback for him, going from 14th to 7th in a elongated shot to the end. Matthew Kleinsmith looking for one more charge at the 5. Luke Duran looking to keep his momentum going. You can see he is just barreling ahead. One wrong move by Duran, and that could cost him that podium position. Kleinschmidt knows he's there, looking for his run, looking for the momentum. Will he give it up to him? Jaden Hop now, just approaching past the first 4 sectors. Now looking to get to the halfway sector. He needs to get into the carousel to set it up. Entering into the next hard, sharp left. Another hard left turn now into this winding carousel turn all to the outside. Dives it down nice and steady. Steady as she goes. No trouble there whatsoever. Chris James now looking for a little bit of a comeback at Kleinsmith. The E-Speed A2 is not done. He says, we're not through here. I want one more piece of him. Trying to get to him. I don't think he'll be having enough speed, though. He seems to be just a little too wobbly into those corners. And can't quite hang on. James, no! Hold on. Manages to squeak one out. Almost lost it completely in the turn there. Did not go too well. Did not go very much the way he was hoping for. But it will not to be. Because off the final sectors, into the final corners, Jaden Hop, the 81, will take this one to victory lane, and it's time to get the sparklers flying. He wins on the 3rd of July. Jaden Hop wins this one at Road America. Brad Ward, the 87, will take a solid end race game for him and a big run off, coming second. In the Eric and 87, give credit where credit's due, managing and knock down Luke Duran. And Matthew Kleinsmith, oh my word, this man is a manimal. He won't give up. Duran, though, will hold him off by one lap, if you will. I'm not going to give him a car length distance. That really is just one lap that separated those two out. And Chris James has got a little bit of company entering in the final corners. Made quite a few mistakes. Clark's looking to try to pass him. One final overtaker, top 5 up for grabs. Into the final corner, James was able to hold off Clark just enough. James will get the top 5. But at the end of this race, at the end of this day, no one was taken down. The man in the 81, he takes the Canals Big Shop Machine into victory lane. Jaden Hop wins at Road America. He's a road course winner and a road course race winner. Taking this one home here and taking home a fiery victory, to say the least. What a performance. And what a drive by Jaden Hop there, taking 2 spots up and taking it full control of this race. The rest of the finishers right now currently just coming onto the track here, as we are now going to present to you our finishers presented by the ButtKicker Company. Jaden Hop wins this one out after a long fight to the end to start game. Brad Ward goes second. Third will go to Luke Duran. Matthew Kleinschmidt getting fourth. Fifth to Chris James. Sixth to Spencer Clark. Seventh to Brody Gunter. Hard charge, our award goes to him there. Rocky Harpins going 8th. 9th to Andrew Griesbaum. And 10th to Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr. That'll clap the top 10. Top 10 drivers right now getting fielded in. We'll talk now with the top 3 drivers in just a minute. As we are now approaching the time, it is time to bring them in. Ladies and gentlemen, our third place finisher now joins me here in the Big Five. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Luke Duran to the start. And Luke, what a podium today, my friend. You had to hold back some company not only once but twice. And at the end there, it looked like you had quite a bit of a workaround with Kleinschmidt. He was going for you there on those final laps.
Yeah, man, it should have been a lot easier third place. I messed up on that pit stop and forgot to uncheck the tires. It probably cost me 5 or 6 seconds. It didn't affect the finishing position, but it definitely made the last couple laps a lot more stressful than it should have been.
It made it a little bit more stressful, but at the same time, it made it a little bit more interesting, I would say, on the broadcast end. But as a driver, I got to believe that a lot of that pit crew work and really that kind of frustrates down to the point of, you know, being more kind of agile in these kind of races, because that pit stops and those pit crew really do make a difference here on these road courses, don't they?
Yeah, you're so concerned about not missing a corner and trying to stay focused, and there's little details like the tires and how much fuel or unchecking your fast repair. That stuff sometimes gets overlooked, and you're kicking yourself after you're sitting there waiting while the guy in front of you is driving away because he did what he was supposed to do and unchecked his tires.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, at least at the end of the day, the car was still able to hold off and long enough for a podium position. So, Duran, did you come away here third out of the bunch? Who do you want to thank for this one?
Everybody at High Side, I think it was a pretty good night for us. Everybody watching, and the league admins for putting this on and letting me race, and you guys for giving us a broadcast.
Absolutely. Well, Duran, really appreciate it coming on board, sir. Congratulations on this one, and we'll catch you next time out.
All right, have a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Duran, the Big Five, comes away here as your only Chevy winner, third place position. And second then is one of our 2 Fords, the one from our Canada region. Ladies and gentlemen, the 87, Brad Ward. And Brad, man, you had literally had to go through a mountain and back just to get through a few guys and past a few drivers. And on the closing laps there, get around Duran, then looking for the charge to get the hop, but he was just too far away, wasn't he?
Yeah, Jaden, anytime we come to a road course, you know, Jaden's going to be really tough to beat. And sure enough, again tonight, he was unreal. So, yeah, you know, good to come out and run second, I guess. So, yeah.
It was tough to beat, but at the same time, I mean, you have nothing to be ashamed of as well. You had a lot of speed, a lot of power. Kind of kicked up and really brought out around the track here. I would have thought at some points you may have actually, if it wasn't so far ahead, might have actually kind of rivaled him when it came to positions, came for the fight, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the car was really good tonight. You know, all the guys at GDR did a really good job with this one. You know, we had good drive off and good turn, so it was fun to drive. You know, if we were with Jaden there, maybe could have done something with him, but you know, I just think he's so good at these places, so it would have been tough.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, Brad, as you come away today as a second man on the spot, I must ask you, sir, do you want to thank you for this?
Yeah, got to thank, like I said, all the guys at GDR. They did a really good job with this car. Lord Auto Parts and you for putting on the show.
Absolutely. Well, nevertheless, Brad, congratulations here on a second place finish, and we certainly can't wait to see you guys back out on the track once more here.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, the 87, Brad Ward coming away second, and the man that stands above all else and pretty much just all but dominated this one. It's the 81, ladies and gentlemen, Jaden. Hop now onto the circuit, and Jaden, I just said a minute ago, the best way to describe this one to end your race out was just pure dominance here at this road course.
Yeah, I think so. It would have been tough to beat Lawrence had he not had his issue, but it was fun either way.
Yeah, I was about to say, Lawrence kind of had a penalty or a bit of a struggle there, a little bit of problems, ends up costing him big time here. But when you're able to capitalize on that mistake, I got a feeling that you were pretty happy to know you were already pretty much putting seconds on these guys the more you went on this race. I got a feeling that was probably what you were aiming for, wasn't it?
I mean, that's what you always hope, but you can never really tell unless you, like, do the race.
For sure. Well, nevertheless, though, at least at the end of the day, Hop, as you come away the race winner, I've got to ask you, sir, who do you want to thank for all this?
Just Aiden and the rest of the admin team for putting on a good week as always, and you for putting on a good broadcast.
For sure there. All right. Well, Jay, we really appreciate you coming on board today, sir. Congratulations on this race win, and we'll have to see if there's more to come in the future.
Thank you.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the 81 Jaden Hop comes away with the race win to close out his day. And, well, that really all about wrap it up for our showcase today, ladies and gentlemen, presented in part by our friends at the ButtKicker Company. Best in performance on feeling on real tracks in the virtual world. The ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning on to the show. We really appreciate you guys coming out and get in. And until the green flag flies next time on PTM Racing TV, we ask you to be safe, take care of yourselves, be good to one another, and have a happy 4th of July from all of us here at PTM Racing TV.